Let's begin our rookie review series that we're going to do this summer with Bilal Coulibaly. I did this last summer with a bunch of the rookies last year, and it was awesome, and people seemed to like it. So we're going to do it this year. Don't ask me why I started with Bilal. I really like Bilal. He was a player who I loved watching as a prospect. Was reasonably high on him. He went a little higher than I thought, but I think the Wizards made sense for him, and I think he had a really intriguing rookie year. So we're going to take a look at what he did as a rookie and think about his game moving forward. As always, tell me who you want to see next. A like, comment, subscribe, all that means a ton, helps me make more of these videos for you. And I actually have already made a video on Bilal's defense. I covered a game early in the season, and we're going to talk a little bit less about his defense today, but that is the main selling point for him now and going forward. He was, to me, a legitimately solid defender, just let alone for being an 18-year-old playing in the NBA, or 19-year-olds. And look at him sliding his feet, knocking that ball away from Donovan Mitchell. Coulibaly's fluidity at the point of attack is truly absurd here. And I think the playmaking gene is there, where Bilal initially gambles and gets out of position on this Buddy Hield kind of cut in, but a lot of players, especially rookies, would just give up. But Bilal locates the opening right here and ends up getting a steal. His instincts and awareness and the feel stuff were surprisingly good for a rookie as young as he is, playing on a team as bad as the Wizards, right? And obviously is just using his length all the time to get steals and disrupt the flow of the offense whenever the Wizards went zone, or he just takes away passing windows that players think are there. Jalen Johnson hit this high-low to Onyeka and Capella all season, and from this kind of freeze frame, it looks like this is going to work, but Coulibaly plays cornerback here and snags this ball out of the air with his awesome wingspan and vertical explosion and helps ignite the fast break going the other way. He is a true defensive playmaker, and that's really valuable. Guys who can not only make plays on the perimeter, but also at the rim. Bilal showcased some interesting shot blocking stuff. Really good job setting up inside the circle here, rising quickly and blocking with his length. Basically everything you could want a wing defender to do, Bilal Coulibaly flashed the ability to do, where even on a possession like this, you can see some of the versatility. His on-ball defense wasn't perfect, as we'll get into. He kind of gets opened up here by DeJounte Murray. The hips don't move great, but noticing where he has to go next. Bilal doesn't give up on plays when he gets beat or gambles, which is so important because even the best defenders in the league are going to get beat, especially rookies. But Bilal knows, hey, Capella's open because Gafford helped. I'm going to slide down and I'm going to block a center. Obviously, Capella doesn't jump like he used to, but Bilal, 6'7" with a 7 foot plus wingspan, is going to block the shit out of that shot with his excellent timing and length. This is not rookie stuff defensively, and this is what we saw consistently throughout the season. Another nice low man possession here. This is a valuable trait for defensive wings to be able to play as the low man, and we've seen Coulibaly doing this. He's early rotating down, noticing the gap, and that he is the far side defender, so it's his job to close that space, and ends up getting his hands up and forcing Herb Jones into a miss right there. So all of the low man stuff is great, and I do want to be cognizant of like how bad the Wizards defense was at times, and that Coulibaly felt often that he was the only one really making plays and rotating. Here he tries to double on Jokic, which they obviously needed. Nobody else rotates. Everyone else is zoning out on the weak side. This is how the Wizards defense was all year, and I think it made Coulibaly look worse than he was at times, where it often felt like he was the only one really injecting like effort and energy into this defense. I'd say Denny was the other one, but great play here, picking up Brandon Miller, cutting off his drive, and then a great quick switch onto Grant Williams, walls him off, and contests. I want you to pay attention to, or continue to pay attention to, his reaction speed, the speed at which he reads plays. This was not great, and his on-ball defense is good against bigger players, but not the best against quick guards, where his hips aren't that quick, and he can definitely get opened up by guards changing directions, where we can see Bilal shows his top foot, and from this position, he just doesn't have the fluidity in his torso area to get back into the play there and contest Terry Rozier. But Bilal took on difficult assignments all all the time. Here he gets muscled back by Ingles, where he's just not going to have the upper body strength, especially to contest strong veteran ball handlers at this stage of his career. Obviously, I don't think any of these concerns that we're showing are super crazy or anything in terms of negatives. Because then you'll have plays like this, where he slides with Franz Wagner over a little bad, not really even a screen set there, but we can see the fluidity, the movement skill, and then just rejecting that shot with excellent timing and length. So even through the inconsistency, Coulibaly did a lot of really good stuff on the ball. And though it wasn't consistent with his footwork, when the feet are placed well, you can see how fluid his hips and his torso can be. Look at him taking that choppy step first, kind of around the screen. Sticks with, obviously, it's Killian Hayes and the flexing. But I don't want to talk too much about the defense. He was great, and I think he has a lot of potential to be a real kind of versatile on-off-ball defender, mostly just wrecking with his off-ball defense stuff. Offense is really interesting because even more so than the defense, Washington's offense was disastrous at times. But Coulibaly flashed some nice stuff as a closeout attacker and a driver off of the catch. There was some really nice craft here as he's able to win with his spin move, faking and scooping with that little step through move against Cam Thomas. This is where Coulibaly was at his most comfortable as a rookie, attacking off of the catch. Here we're going to see him matched up against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's going to hit him with a beautiful little spin move and finish in traffic. I do want to take notice of how slow Bilal likes to play, as he's not a super comfortable shooter off of the catch immediately, where this is a problem we'll talk about, and one of the main swings for him is going to be the shooting, where Bilal likes to pause, set up, and this can work because he has the fluidity and the movement skills to win off of the dribble in instances like that, but there are times where it hampers the flow of offense, and things are often better when he attacks straight off the catch like this. No hesitation, catches and goes against Miller, gets his chest in there, and ends up finishing strong the and one. That's a really, really nice play, attacking within the flow of the offense, and that's how he best weaponizes his tools at this point. Coulibaly was comfortable burning bigs on switches. Again, Porzingis has no chance against a guy as quick as Coulibaly. When he's unimpeded by handle or pressure, like, he can really fly, and the athletic tools are very impressive. And there were some cool driving flashes. He didn't really have an opportunity to do much on the ball. The Wizards just didn't really give him those reps, but there were some flashes where he crosses in front of Tyrese Maxey. He kind of opens him up here, and I do wish he kind of kept his dribble alive. The handle definitely needs to improve, as this dig by Morris forces kind of an early pickup, and Maxey is unable to finish here. Not Maxey, excuse me. Coulibaly is unable to finish here. That's just a tough twisting attempt that Maxey ended up defending well. His advantage creation is nothing special. That was never really the sell with Coulibaly, even though he did flash some crazy stuff. And in France, he definitely showcased more like handle and advantage creation stuff. But attacking off the catch, like, oh man, he is explosive and difficult to challenge when he is attacking in space. And hopefully one day when the Wizards get more like real spacing and offensive movement, where, yeah, Bilal is kind of running into guys right here. He's not separating super creatively here. Gets to the middle of the floor, takes two kind of weirdly timed steps and throws the ball up. There isn't much footwork here or patience, but look at the spacing. Kuzma and Gafford just kind of sinking in, allowing the help to so easily crowd Coulibaly. So, like, even if he did do a move, he might not have been able to score. I do think the Wizards' total lack of spacing and movement and stuff really hurt Coulibaly in the creation chances he had, and which is why I'm very interested. I think we have this clip twice by accident, but whew, let's watch it again. I'm really interested to see, hopefully, what Coulibaly can do in a more real-looking offense this year and in the coming years. Because there are some really nice flashes, again, just like attacking this closeout here. 1v1 versus Paolo, muscles through him, maintains his balance and finishes. Like, hit some of the strength and balance and like contact balance, physical tool stuff that we've seen on both offense and defense are really impressive for Coulibaly. And these are tools that you can absolutely build off of and work on. The shooting is going to be a big question. Coulibaly shot 34.6% from three. That was like around the middle among rookies who took 2 threes a game. That volume, though, Bilal only took 2.9 threes, obviously was not good for mid-range at all, is the main question. As Coulibaly was much better shooting unguarded catch and shoots, where he kind of had time to set up, and yeah, there's a defense like AJ Green's closing out here, but Bilal has plenty of time to set and shoot. And we talked about hesitancy on that Shea drive, right, where Bilal likes to kind of stop and take his time, and that's a good example of this right here, where Bilal deters advantages created by his teammates. Not deters, he denies advantages created by his teammates because he's not a decisive attacker yet, either shooting the ball immediately or driving off of the catch. He likes to jab, take a sec, and try to set up for his shots, and ultimately I think takes himself out of the offensive flow, which is just going to make his and everyone's life all of that more difficult. Bilal can definitely get downhill when he attacks with the flow of the offense. Look, attacking immediately off of the catch, but notice how Jalen Suggs closes out to Bilal. He currently isn't a threatening enough shooter to make defenses sprint at him and run him off the line, because Coulibaly, as we've seen, can really attack those closeouts, but Suggs is kind of like walking here, and obviously Suggs is an incredible defender, and he can flip his hips and run with anyone, but he doesn't really challenge Suggs here. Suggs isn't afraid of Coulibaly catching this ball and ripping it off the net, right? Like, he's just going to expect Coulibaly to take his time, and therefore Suggs can take his time, and everyone's life becomes harder. So that's going to be a big swing that I'm watching going forward, and Bilal was interesting at times. Like, as we saw, the efficiency was really poor, but he flashed some ability to create and hit these pull-up mid-ranges. I probably wouldn't expect that to be a huge part of his game going forward. But I do want to talk about the passing, because I think that's really interesting, and possibly the most interesting part of this whole video, where Bilal's flashes were really impressive. Attacks off of the catch, beats Capella, and then whips this down to Daniel Gafford. That's a great read on the move. As a second side attacker, I really do believe in the passing, and we're going to get to that here. We see another closeout attack for Bilal. Once again, he kind of pauses and doesn't go right away, but it's a little better, and Ingram's out of position, gets baseline, whips this ball to Kuzma here. That's a beautiful kind of cross-court pass falling out of bounds, showcasing advanced vision, technique, detail on that passing placement. And one of the coolest things that the Wizards did offensively this year was let Bilal play as a roller. And I think, honestly, this is kind of my favorite stuff that he showed this year. Bilal slipping into space here, reading an advantage situation. It's 2v, or really 3 here. We have this triangle of Tyus, Bagley, and him versus Harden and Norm Powell. Harden has to step up. Immediately, Bilal reads this, and look at him kind of no-look away to freeze the defense. As Bilal stares at Jones, Powell doesn't commit all the way to Bagley, Bilal slips it in. This is really advanced stuff, using manipulation as an off-ball mover. We've seen so many smaller players be effective rollers in like OKC or Boston-style offenses. I think of like a Bruce Brown type who did it really, really well in Denver. And Bilal has the passing chops to hit these reads out of the short roll. And I really do like that he's willing to try stuff and to make these reads happen, where even if he's not making passes here, great job to kind of get around Lauri's top foot and create an advantage. And I like him throwing this ball into Bagley. It's not the greatest pass here. The timing isn't perfect, and he probably just should have thrown a pocket pass here because Lauri is able to get his hand in there. But I like the vision and the willingness to try these more difficult passes. And there's going to be a time where where Bilal needs to learn how to use his scoring threat to draw defenses in open passing lanes. If he kind of faked a hard drive, got Walker Kessler to commit, that would have made the pass for Bagley all that much easier. And that's just going to be something that'll come with age and experience as Bilal improves his handle and his shooting and all of that stuff to become the kind of scorer he can be. Another really solid short roll decision here in early offense. Bilal catching the ball, advantage situation, takes a pause, finds the open man. It's nothing crazy, but this is a really nice value add when you have an off-ball player like Coulibaly who's comfortable working in this situation. And another example of a play that ends up being a turnover, but I really like the process where Coulibaly's using these advanced deliveries, trying to wrap it around into a tight window. And honestly, did that go off of Gafford's hand? I can't tell if Brown deflected it. Either way, it was a contested play, but I love the idea because, again, if Coulibaly gets this in, that's an open layup or a dunk or foul or something. And I think having the vision to hunt those type of plays is generally a positive thing that I do overall like. I'm curious about him developing this passing feel as like a live ball creator, where Coulibaly isn't that great at feeling help at the moment on his own drives, where he's great in those advantage situations as we talked about, but he isn't really feeling Tobias Harris coming behind him when he actually does a really nice job to cross over and create space here on this hop step, gets downhill, forces the jump, but just doesn't feel Tobias Harris. Ends up grabbing the board here and getting a nice foul draw, but you can see he doesn't really feel that help coming, and that was a consistent theme that I noticed while watching, was him not really feeling the help. And improving his handle is going to go a long way to unlocking the passing. This is kind of a quintessential bad Coulibaly play. He doesn't shoot off the catch. Oubre doesn't close out, right? Even though he's a 35% shooter, so you might think, okay, defenses are going to close out, but that's not really the case when Coulibaly isn't a willing shooter off the catch. Oubre can sit on his right hand where Coulibaly's not as comfortable driving left, pokes the ball out, and that's kind of an easy steal for Kelly Oubre, and Bilal ends up almost getting the ball back there because his effort level is always amazing. And I do think some of his speed and explosion, he can get carried away with it, as Coulibaly just runs straight at the basket and tries to score over Kleber, who contests well, but if he slowed down a little bit, look at all of this room he has to work with, and this is a 2v1. He has Avdia cutting into the middle where he probably could have made a quick little pass here to get a wide open layup or dunk, but because he's just kind of charging at the rim, and it makes sense. You have a really explosive young athlete who's used to winning with that athleticism, but that's just not as easy at the NBA level. But I do lean positive on Bilal's offense long term, even if it was pretty bad overall as a rookie in terms of impact. Bilal showcased some impressive driving, flashing, passing, and shooting flashes, and while there's a lot to clean up, I think the main swings for him will not just be shooting percentage, but being more comfortable ripping shots and ripping threes off of the catch to further open up his game, and then improving the handle to go along with it so he can do more than spin and really keep his dribble alive deeper into the paint. But I think that, combined with his awesome defensive ability already, I think Coulibaly has the potential to be an all-league defender at some point in his career, given his awesome off-ball impact. And I think that, plus the offensive potential, give him some scary upside. Bilal is going to be younger than most rookies going into his sophomore season, and he's going to have a full NBA offseason under his belt. He's playing with the French national team this year, so that's going to be good experience. And I do lean optimistic on Bilal overall. I don't know if he's ever going to be an offensive star, but he could be a real, legit complementary piece who's smart attacking off ball and uses his playmaking while he wrecks on defense. And though that might not be the player who wins you a title, it's a really great complementary piece to have when you have your stars in place that hopefully the Wizards can get over the next few years. So I'm fascinated to see how Bilal develops. And hey, maybe if he can really unlock his athletic tools, he can turn into a legit offensive star. But I'm fascinated to see how he plays in year 2.